and the trotter just left there. It's a very complex part of the pig or part of any animal, and the interesting part is you'll see when I take these rib bones out, the neck bones, they're actually not connected to the remaining bones inside the shoulder. So that whole shoulder section isn't connected to the spine. So everything on there is load bearing. It's doing so much work, which is why it's got so much flavour, why it's quite textural, and it takes a little bit of coercion to get the best out of it. Now, it's interesting, we talk a lot about primary cuts and secondary cuts. I know that term it's industry wide and it needs to be there, it is what it is, but I have a slightly different view on it. When this animal was running around in Lawrence Farm, that was just as important as its tenderloin was, as its top was, as its loin was. Without each muscle, artery and organ inside the pig or inside any animal, it's not going to live right. So in the living animal, there was no such thing as a secondary cut. And I think we need to think slightly differently about that when we start to label primary and secondary. If I was to throw that on a grill and pretend it's a steak, of course it's going to be rubbish, right? But if I was to do the right thing with it, it's going to be amazing. Same thing if I was to put the tenderloin into a rillette, it's going to be rubbish. You do the right thing with the right cut, you're going to get the best out of it.
And can I just jump in for a second and point out that normally a lot of chefs wouldn't use that cut, but putting that on your menu, there's margin in that.
100%. I mean, so many of you would know about the famous Pierre Kaufmann. One of the most famous dishes in the world is the stuffed pig's trotter that Pierre Kaufmann made very famous. Marco Pierre White made it famous. And more recently, Brendan Fong at Human Restaurant in Sydney has made it. He's brought it back to life again. So he's taking something that, don't get me wrong, this was never going in the bin. This was always split and put into stock in the kitchen, right? High amount of collagen in there. And that really brings that gelatinous feel to a stock as opposed to reducing the hell out of it. But, I mean, that for me that's gold. That's absolute gold.